Welcome. Welcome to this Yin Yoga evening sequence, which is tailored to improve wind down, for you to mentally digest, soften, and then hopefully sleep better. What we're going to need is either a bolster or a big bath towel or blanket that you could roll in the way of a bolster, like a sausage-like shape. On top of that, I also have 1 or 2 blocks with me. If you do not have blocks, you could use a big book or just another rolled up blanket. And then let's begin. We move straight into our first shape, for which I'm going to use my bolster, or you could use your rolled up blanket. I like to have my bolster on a bit of an angle, so I'm going to place a block underneath. You could do the same with a blanket. We probably need a second blanket or a cushion, or you could just tilt it over if it was a bit longer. Beautiful. So then what we're going to do is we're going to sit on the floor against that support and then recline. Beautiful. And I'm going to open my arms to the side, palms facing up. Now, before we really settle in, just explore how you want to place the legs. I have them here in Supta Baddha Konasana, so the soles of the feet touch, knees out wide. If this is not so much for you, you could also bring the soles of the feet down a little bit wider and allow the knees to knock together. Another option, of course, is to have the legs out long. So whatever it is, settle in, finding your shape that suits your body. You might want to open the arms a little bit wider. And start to notice the openness around the chest. Closing the eyes. Just taking those first moments in this shape to arrive, to settle in. See if you can direct that breath into the heart space and let it radiate out along the inner arms all the way to your pinky fingers. And on that exhale, sinking back into the support. Inhale into that heart space, radiating out into the pinky fingers, and then exhale to release, sink back. Couple more moments here. Next breath in, radiate the breath out into the fingertips, extend the fingers, reach out through the arms, and then exhale to soften once more. Start to blink open the eyes. Maybe move the hands, fingers, or circle the wrists a little. Maybe reaching arms up and over the head, giving yourself a stretch feels good. And then we roll off that support to one side. Taking a mini moment here. And then coming up. I'm going to place the bolster or blanket out of the way. And we're going to find our way onto hands and knees. So here on hands and knees, all we're going to do is we're going to find some intuitive moves, which might look like a shifting forward and back, maybe some circular moves, maybe some H-shape moves. And I just want you to notice how it feels when you put the weight onto one hand, the other hand. If you shift your weight back, you might even hear a crack or two. Just bringing our awareness a bit more into all those joints of the body. And pausing for a moment. Going to take a gentle, soft breath in just to lift the heart, almost like a cow shape. And as you exhale, we round the spine back, sit bones come all the way over the heels for a child's pose. The inhale lifts us back up and forward to lift the heart. And the exhale shifts us back, rounding the spine, child's pose. Doing that once more. Coming all the way back up onto hands and knees. Now we're going to turn the fingers back to face towards the knees. So now for some of us it might feel nice to circle just ever so gently, or maybe shift forward and back, or maybe you just want to stay still and tune into that sensation that you get from those inner wrists. A lot of tendons running from those forearm muscles down, crossing the wrists into the fingers. And then slowly bringing the hands back forward, and then flicking that all out, all that old stale energy. Beautiful. We're now going to move into a toe tuck. So we're now moving away from the hands and attune to the feet. We're going to tuck the toes under. Sometimes you have to manually pull the pinky toes forward. So now we're going to deeply stretch into the plantar fascia, also all the ligaments and the little capsules around the toes. So if you have the hands forward and shift the weight a bit further forward, it is not as intense. You could use a prop, so you can sit upright and come back a little bit further. really finding what works for you here. As I mentioned, we only want to go to about 60-70% of intensity because we want to hold the shape for a little while. And in that shape, we want to soften. If it is possible for you to walk the fingers or hands back onto the thighs, great. Whenever something gets too intense, back off. If you're right up here, what I love to do is I'm going to open my arms wide, taking a deep breath in, reaching arms back, lifting through the heart. And on the exhale, I'm going to give myself a big hug. And then around the spine, bring chin to chest. Inhale to come back up, open the arms once more. And the exhale, giving myself one more hug, the other arm on top this time. And then folding. Opening back up. And slowly bring the hands back onto the thighs. Maybe forward. And then it's time to release. Walking the hands forward, just lifting the feet up for a moment. Feel the blood rushing back in. And then tapping the feet. Reinvigorate those toes. Beautiful. Feel the energy now in your feet, in your toes. Walking the hands back. Gonna lean back, stretching the ankles, either staying like this. If you need something underneath the fronts of the feet, that feels better on your ankles, put a little towel there. Either staying like this, or maybe you can lift the knees up to stretch the fronts of the ankles. Maybe even a little shift from side to side. Now we're going to move into a shape that is called Anahata Asana, the melting heart shape. Want to create a bit of space, some more space around the chest and the front of the body. I like to use a bolster for that. You can also just use the floor. I'm just going to show you the first variation. In Anahata Asana, we want to keep the hips above the knees. And then I'm going to walk my hands a little bit further forward and then bring the forearms onto that bolster. And then I sink the chest, the heart down. My forehead sits nicely on the edge of the bolster. So I'm either going to stay here if you don't have a bolster. Use the mat. Same principle, walking the hands a little bit further forward. Keeping the hips over the knees and then sink the chest down. You can come down onto the forehead or chin. If this is a bit too intense, you could come into a half variation where you bend one arm. So I bend my left arm. I have my left forearm across now. Rest my forehead on the left forearm and reach the right arm forward. So wherever you want to start from, we're going to find our Anahata Asana shape now. If you do the half variation, remember to change over at some time. So let's sink in. If you're at your half Anahata Asana, you might want to change sides now. And we slowly find our way forward onto the belly. And just rest for a moment, folded forearms or stacked forearms, resting the forehead down. From here, we're going to find a shape that is called broken wing. I'm going to place my left arm out to the side. The palm is facing down. So now in a moment, you can change the position of that arm to either further up or down. Maybe even want to add a little bend in the elbow. I'm just going to start from here. Left arm out to the left, palm down. And I'm going to turn my head, looking over to the right, placing my left ear down. Right hand next to ribs. I'm going to gently push my right hand into the ground to roll the right side of the body open. So for some of us, that right leg lifts up and rolls back behind us. That is great. If that does not happen, doesn't matter, you keep it down. And then the right hand can stay in front of the chest. You could hug something as a support. There's no whatsoever effort to hold this shape. I can stay here easily. For some of us, you might even want to take the right arm behind you. But only go there if you can maintain this shape without muscular effort. And then we're going to drop. We're going to stay here. Gradually sinking in. Releasing effort. Another 2 rounds of breath. A soothing breath. Slowly releasing the shape. Rolling back onto your belly. And again, creating that little pillow for the head. Taking a little moment here in between. Now we're going to come on to the other side. So I'm going to reach my right arm out to the right. Palm is facing down. Going to bring my right ear down. So I'm looking to the left. That left hand will sit next to your ribs. And then in a moment, I'm going to push that left hand into the ground, rolling that left side of the body open. And maybe that left leg comes behind you, and I have that bolster there, and my leg nicely sits on that bolster. If you wanted any other kind of support, you could use a block, for example, or a cushion that you could just wedge out in front of you to hold you in place. And if you can maintain this shape without any effort, you could also bring that left arm around the back. And closing the eyes. Feeling the weight of the body descending down. The whole body softening, sinking. Two more rounds of breath. And ever so gently releasing this shape. Coming back onto the belly for a brief moment in between. Coming back up, we're going to find a child's pose. So see if you can bring the knees wide, big toes touch. And then from here, I like to have a twisted child's pose. So I'm going to bring my hands forward and then slide the back of the right hand underneath that left arm all the way until I rest on outer right shoulder, right side of the head. And then this is where we're going to stay. No muscular effort needed. I want to create space in that right side shoulder. And in those moments where we create space in the physical body, we also have the opportunity to create space between our thoughts. Three more rounds of breath. Slowly release this shape. Gonna move move on to the other side straight away. So I'm going to reach my right hand a little bit out to the right and then slide the back of that left hand underneath the right arm, out to the right as far as I can. Coming to rest on outer left shoulder, left side of the head. With each exhalation, letting go of any tension, anything that's not yours. Three more rounds of breath. Slowly draw that left arm back. Leaning to one side and bring your legs forward. Before we move on to the next shape, we're gonna do some acupressure massage. Is that specific point on the soles of our feet, which is the kidney 1 point, the first point of the kidney meridian. It is located on the sole of your foot, underneath the ball of the foot, between the first and second toe. So it's probably a bit hard for you to see. But nevertheless, just get your thumbs and start to massage that area. You can also massage a bit more into the arch. Notice how it feels, the tissues in the soles of the feet. So this kidney 1 point is a very grounding point. Massaging it draws all that excess energy from the upper body, from the head down. So it is a very grounding point. So whatever point you found that feels good to massage, apply a bit more pressure, taking a deep breath in and exhale, sigh it out. And we release that massage, flicking all that energy away. Gonna find a forward fold with the soles of the feet together, sliding the feet further forward. Now, different props. If you have a bolster, you could even lean into it. You could use a block that you could find support on. If you only have a big pillow or cushion, you could also put that out in front. I like to use my bolster in such a way that I can rest also my forehead. So as I mentioned, slide the feet a little bit further forward so you have that diamond shape in the legs. And then we slowly start to take the heart forward, the hands forward, and eventually round through the spine. If the head can't rest on support, then let it hang freely. finding your shape now. Releasing all that effort to hold the head up, letting that go. Feeling the back body expand a little, sending your breath in that space behind the heart. We stay for 3 more rounds of breath. Very slowly lift the head, chest, shoulders back up. Slide the legs out in front of you. If you have a rolled up blanket or bolster, you might want to place it underneath the knees. And then recline. Just going to take a couple of moments here in this resting shape to allow the body to fully soften, unwind. No effort needed. And slowly bring a bit more movement into the body again. And we're going to bring the palms together in front of the chest. And we're going to start rubbing the palms, creating a bit of warmth between the hands, a bit of energy. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to place palms over your eyes, covering your entire face. And as you're here, just take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, drop all expression from the face. Take the palms away from the face. Open the eyes. And come to roll onto your side. and back up. I hope you feel a bit more rested, a bit more spacious around the heart and the whole body. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.